All right. Well, here we go. What's up, guys? Just hanging out. Had a big day today. Hit the road. Saw some buddies. Had great lunch. Had a little Mexican. We ended up hitting a few Ollies, discount stores where I've been showing the books off and on for 2 years that they've been getting at discounts like 75, 80%, 75%, 80%, 90% off. And we also ended up hitting Atomic Comics in Johnson City, Tennessee. Um, One of the comic book shops that's been around for 30 years. And the guy also has a huge selection of comic books that we were able to kind of tackle today, despite his comic book shop being just a little bit of a disarray where people have been coming in wanting to buy his entire stock and stuff. There's things were going on. And it was very interesting to be in there because I messaged him earlier in the week to let him know that we'll be driving a couple hours to come down there to see him and off of his Atomic Comics Facebook page. And then he got back to us. He'd been out of town, he had a few things going on that I'm not going to put out his business and stuff, keeping him busy. But he got back to me last night, told us he was going to be open today on Saturday. Went down there. It was very interesting. I'm assuming he got on my Facebook through the messenger. And because when I talked to him last week, of course, I had the mask on. It's been a decade and a half probably since I'd been in that place. I was there quite a bit in the 90s off and on, early 2000s, and he remembered me. He was like, "Oh yeah, you were nice, man. I remember you, Tim. Don't worry. Make sure to use my first name and stuff. Real nice guy." So we went down there, and it was really cool. And he was talking to his friends, some regulars and stuff, while we were looking around at the comics, and I was digging through stuff. And I kind of went through and made sure I was getting things I really needed to complete some hauls or to go ahead and just get, because you won't be able to find it anywhere else. Now, it's really interesting budget-wise. That's a big thing with me on this stuff because I don't go crazy. I rarely go crazy spending money. But between, not having a lot of monthly comics I'm buying, if any, I might be getting one or two now at this point. No one comic book convention that I went to this year. Hey, what's up, Victor Thomas? No Heroes Con, no Baltimore Con. That'll be going. Basically, the stuff I bought over the past month is probably the accumulated cost of things like gas and food and whatever else would pop up with that. Very little on the comic books. So despite the fact that I've gotten quite a bit of stuff over the last month, when you go back a year, I don't know, 8 months to a year, I'm really not hitting my budget that bad. You get what I'm saying? That little pocket I have over there. So one of the things I want to show there, I'll probably show this a couple times. I really wanted a shirt like this back in the early 90s when Valiant Comics was hitting big and Shadow Man came out. So this website that sells t-shirts had a sale going on, and I was like, I went for it. So if you are familiar at all with 90s Valiant, I now have a Shadow Man comic, a Shadow Man t-shirt. The next one I'm probably going to get if they have another sale is if you go back to the 90s and remember that after Valiant got bought up by Acclaim and they pushed out Jim Shooter, he started Defiant Comics. Defiant Comics, an ironic name, was sued by Marvel because they had a book called Plasm that they changed to Warriors of Plasm because, lo and behold, Marvel Comics or Marvel UK, we're going back to like 1994-ish here, just came out with a comic called, specifically made, maybe, to give these guys some trouble, called Plasmer or something. It's a footnote in comic book history, if anything. And Defiant Comics went to court with Marvel, won the case, but it took up all of their budget and they went away. Well, I love that line of comics, and now there's a t-shirt that somebody has made that you can get where it's the Defiant Comics logo, which is just fantastic. It's like the silhouette of a tower that you would see. Looks like a rook piece that you have on a chessboard, and it has a little window with a white light out there, and it just says Defiant. I always love the simplicity of the design. What we got here, people are popping in and getting ready to show the haul. Belief in oneself is contagious. We give each other permission to be superheroes. We will not awaken otherwise. Mr. Glass. Somebody hit me with the M. Night Shyamalan trilogy that I absolutely love. Unbreakable, Split, in Glass. Is that right? Is the second one Split? Oh, live shows, and you go blank. I have the movies right over there. That's what's so funny. I can just walk over there and go look at them. Fantastic series. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Mr. Bulldops. I love that. Maybe we'll just have a night where I pull out comic book movies that aren't made by Marvel or DC. Eric Breen, hi Tim. You going to stream with your old pals at I Love Comics again? Sure, man. Yeah, let me know. Basically, Eric, before I get off to the hall here, I got one show I'm doing Monday on Crosses on Infinite Earths with Comic Core, and then the 2 Fridays with the show that I do, Cabinet of Chaos. I'm taking a hiatus because a lot of stuff going on with work. They know what's going on. One of the reasons I have a little bit of insomnia and stuff, a lot going on. So yeah, I'm down for a show there, Eric. Not a problem, man. You guys just let me know. I got my Twitter back up, so give me a yell. Mr. Bulldop says he loves the videos. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. So to hop into the comics here, just a little review. If you saw my little live stream last week that I did keep up, come on now, camera. I've been showing some things from Ollies, so I'm going to give a quick rundown because I actually left out the biggest thing ever. And I'm coming to you from my kitchen instead of the comic book room. Oh, man, we're going to have some issues there because when I went to Atomic Comics last week, I picked up some bags and boards, and I'm going through and I am bagging and boarding a lot, rebagging and boarding, reporting a lot of my Jack Kirby Bronze Age stuff, Eternals, OMAC, Machine Man, 2001, Devil Dinosaur, some of the Fourth World stuff like Forever People, probably New Gods. Got 100 bags and boards, so we're just going to keep going until I run out. I've got a complete set of the Eternals. And if you've watched my videos for years, I had number 1, number 3. I had like 4 or 5 of these issues that came out of the stepdad's collection. You know, he was a Kirby nut in the house, so I always knew who the Eternals was. I always had that number 1. And then the rest of them, I got in a big lot of comics from a dude. And it was a ton of comics, and it had Hellblazer in there, and it had the rest of the run of the Eternals, if I'm remembering right here. And after I got home, went through the big mass of comics and got them out of those rotting little bags and stuff. They came to 17 cents a piece. So, yeah, there you go. And so over the last few weeks, to make sure I'm not forgetting anything here, but, last week I showed quite a bit of things. I actually did a video where I just did a live stream, just spent an hour going through this book. Well, that was $8 at Ollies. Highly recommend The Legacy of Jack Kirby. Go back and check that video out. And then we're going to show these off. I got this here. Like I said, now, it's not like I have a lot of money that I'm really wasting on this. It's like I was talking about with the budget. So I don't want anybody to kind of think that, oh man, he's going after it. But $125 omnibus for $20, you grab them. So here's Guardians of the Galaxy Solo Classics. This is stuff before that came before. I went through that. You can go through that. And something I'm probably going to flip. I just kind of got it because it was a $125 omnibus for $20. Deadpool. I'm just not big into Deadpool. But here's what I forgot to show. They had 2 of these. A couple months ago, they had one for the Captain America, 80th anniversary. And I didn't get it. It was huge. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. Do I need something this big? And then here it is a couple months later. I think that was probably back in July they got those. It was Captain America, the Vault Edition. I'm going to show you what a Vault Edition is because I got the one for the Avengers. I had gone that day to Ollie's, picked up some stuff, saw 2. They had 2 of these Vault Editions that I'm going to show you. And again, I did the same thing. Man, it was even cheaper this time with their big discount. Didn't want to get it. Ended up going back to Ollie's with the wife and stuff. She needed to get some supplies for her crafts and stuff like that. And I ended up talking to the manager there, who apparently is a comic book collector as well. And he grabs a few of these things and he keeps them. and there was one left. And after talking to him, and he was bragging about the Captain America one, I just went ahead and did it. I had $12 extra from some stuff I took back in return to Ollies. I had a disc, I had a little card that you get from a discount. If you have an Ollies card and you use it every time you buy stuff, you accumulate points and they send you a card for another 10% discount on your entire purchase and stuff, right? So let me grab what I got here that I forgot to show. This is impressive. Okay. 12 pounds, I do believe, of comic book richness. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to show all of it, right? But this is the Avengers comic, the vault, comic book vault here, right? It's in a slip case that is sealed. I would have to rip right here. They have perforated strip here that I can pull over so I can open this and take it out of a slip case. So I got on YouTube after I bought this. I didn't know if I wanted to get this. I had to do some cleaning to get a sticker off of it. And basically, there's a few people who have done reviews of this. This apparently came out a few years ago or something. I don't know. And I saw what was inside of it. But the reason I was going back and forth, do I keep it or not? It has one of my favorite Avengers stories. Not the Yesterday quest that I talked about, but the Roger Stern, John Buscema, Tom Palmer issues of Avengers that happened in the 270s with the Masters of Disaster. I was in middle school when that came out, and that was like my Avengers story. That's the one that I was going monthly to get, and I put it in one of my top 10 battles in comic books years ago on YouTube when I was just trying to get through things. So yeah, I forgot to show that, and who knows, I might show it again and stuff because I really haven't popped it open yet. Work has been horrible. We got here. Cool. We may resurrect the Tuesday night show. Yeah, give me a little bit of time to get things straightened out at work. And then I'll do a live stream talking about that channel. Then we're going to get to the hall here. Woo! Okay, I'm online. People know it. And now it is an official Howler Mouse video because now I'm getting messages and stuff. You figure I haven't had to turn my phone off in a while. Since DC says they don't have to make Superman relevant in films, I have an idea. A film adaptation of Superman's Secret Identity. M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable meets Superman the movie. I've got a video on Superman's Secret Identity by Kurt Busiek. I think it's Kurt Busiek's best work. I think that is the #1 underrated. Why that story isn't, I'm sure it has a little bit of a cult following, but it's basically Superman if he happened in the real world. And it's not what you think. It's not like an ultimate reinterpretation, if you will. Superman is a comic book character in that book. It goes back to the DC Comics Present issue where you got Superboy Prime from Earth Prime during the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and he sort of tells that story a different way. He doesn't become a blithering villain, if you will. It's very grounded in the real world. It's fantastic. My Ollie's tagline may as well be "Good stuff's cheap, just nothing anyone wants." We cleaned out today. Ollie's is awesome. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of Ollies around other parts of the country who have them aren't as good as the ones around here. There's like 5 of them within an hour and a half drive at least. Yep, Secret Identity is Kurt Busiek's magnum opus. Maybe time to pull that out again. But like I said, years ago, I did a video. You can probably do Howler Mouse and Superman's Secret Identity. It'll come up if you really want to do it. Watch it. Okay, so with the vault and some of the other stuff I've shown you, and me sitting there over explaining my budget and just playing around and talking to you guys and stuff like that, time to show what I got today. Okay, I'm going to give you an idea of how big the stack is. So we'll just take our time going through this. I may do a shorter version of this with a regular haul, if you will. But this is blowing my mind. Okay, I got 2 trades today from Ollies. Okay, one is retail price of $25. The other one is $50. Okay, and they came to $15. Right, but Jim Starlin apparently over the last couple of years before having problems with Marvel over taking one of his plots and giving it to, who was it, Danny Chase or something like that. Actually found out about it because of Jim Starlin was on my Facebook there for a long time, and he sort of told everybody to chill out. Okay, I've been doing the Thanos story. He's doing the Thanos book. Of course, this plot would come organically, like it was an accident that the same plot came up. One of my buddies that I went out with today follows all the Thanos books, huge Thanos fan before the movies. Okay. And he was the sort of like, oh no, so he wasn't fooled. But these are hardbacks, a bunch of hardback one shots. This is my third one. One Jim Starlin did himself. The second one Jim Starlin did with Alan Davis. I think that was Infinite Siblings. I don't remember what the first one was called. And now this one we have the the Infinity Siblings. And then we have Thanos, the Infinity Relativity. And I keep, I keep buying these because they're cheap, $25, $8. They're really cool, big hardback one shots. Kind of reminds me of what DC Comics is trying to say. Well, it's what Gary Conway wanted to say. I did that video and pulled it down because after I said what I had to say, and when it comes to creators, it's 2 or 3 channels did videos on it, and I don't know if they ripped me off or we all came to the same conclusion, much like Jim Starlin and Danny Chase, about, hey, Gary, you forgot to put in your business plan to be nice to customers. Okay, pretty much. Anyway, but these books are really cool, but I had to get this one, man, because we go to the negative zone and we get Blastar, we get Annihilus, the big bug warlord of the negative zone, going back to the Kirby days and stuff, right? But he also comes back together with the Infinity Watch. We get to see Pip the Troll, we get to see Gamora, meet them all, and we get to see like the current Indrax. And we get to see the current Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess, at this time. So that's kind of cool, man. The Infinity Revelation. I wonder if I have that one. Apparently, this was a trilogy, so maybe I have all 3 of them. I don't know. I'll do a little research. That's one of the reasons I'm doing the video tonight. I'm ready to rip into these stuff and read and fall asleep reading, man. Okay. So these are very cool if you can find them. $6. $6 for a brand new hardback that goes for $25. And I'm telling you, I don't care if I'm considered frugal, or cheap or whatever and stuff. That's a fair price. Honestly, $25. I don't know, man. I have to roll and think about that. Now, this one may not impress people. I've only met 2 or 3 other people that even know who these people are, who this book is, who are fans, but that doesn't mean they're not out there. It's not the end all be all with my circle and stuff. But I think these came out in the early 2000s, 2004, 2005, if I remember right. Yep, 2004. And it was just killing me. It was killing me that these were coming out. And I was like, how am I going to get these? You know what I mean? It didn't really show up on my online store pre-order stuff. I was like, what is going on? And DC put these out. But in the Silver Age, Wally Wood had his own little set of characters called the Thunder Agents. And I've got a couple of the issues that are coverless that I picked up here and there. I've got maybe 1 or 2 other reprints that had George Perez covers. It was wild and all this stuff. But this is the hardback, right? And this is only 4 issues. This is how much you got in those books from the Silver Age from Wally Wood. And these are beloved. That's Dynamo. You had Dynamo, No Man, who's very cool. No Man was a bit of I don't know, I think he was mystical, but he usually wore a hood. It's kind of wild that they have there. But this is some classic Wally Wood stuff of the 70s. I think Gil Kane popped up there a little bit. Wally Wood, Dan Atkins, Steve Ditko, Chick Stone, George Tuska, and many more other of comics' finest talents and stuff, right? So it's kind of cool. This is volume 5. I mean, I don't have, I realize I may never get the whole set, but no biggie. At least I have something. I've got enough to read as it is. So that was very cool. And I do kind of recommend checking out some older stuff. And Wally Wood stuff is fantastic. Now at Wally, let's check out what we got here. I see more comments. Sequential Geek is here. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for popping in, man. We're just hanging out looking at comics. Oh, look at this. Look at this. That's an old voice right there. Infrared Media. I don't go all the time, so they're usually updated by the time I go back. Oh, yeah, he's probably talking about Ollies. He knows about the Ollies. He knows about the Ollies. Go check out his channel. I know I've never seen that video. I enjoyed reading it as much as you enjoyed reviewing it. Thanks, man. Oh, he's seen the video. Fantastic, man. Awesome. Cool. That was just a fun book. But when you go to Ollies, they have like these 10 packs of random comics. And people usually try to open them and make their own little 10 packs because you get one or two good comics. They come in a plastic bag and they're sealed at the top, and you see the front comic and the back comic. You never really see what's in the middle of it. But now they've got like this super tape, like Gorilla Tape's what it reminds me of, and stuff that you can't get in there. So one of my buddies that went with us, they ended up getting like, I don't know, 4 or 5 of those packs. It's from different Ollies. And as he's going through them, it was exactly, he said he was reminded of why he didn't really do this much. You know what I mean? But in the middle of it, he ended up handing me this when I was like, ooh, the Nth Man. He's read it before. I've read it. Nth Man is its own little world, its own little book. And it's very interesting. Okay. It's very cool. Feels like it takes place in the real world. Marvel Universe is in comic book form there, kind of like an Earth Prime. And it's very, very cool and goes very different places. It's by Larry Hama and Ron Wagner. And I remember this taking place around 89, 88, 89, 90. Yeah, I don't think it made it for 2 years, but it was a full, complete story. It's kind of its own thing, and it had a cult following there for a while. It had a niche audience, okay? And now I'm going to segue here to something here. So while I was in Ollie's, I ended up having to pick this up. I remember seeing these in, I can't believe it, I always forget the name of the store, which makes me feel weird. But I remember seeing this mask like at Spencer's and across from Spencer's where all the goth kids go to get their pants, and stuff like that. And there's spiked bracelets and neck stuff and whatever. But I remember seeing this mask for $15 to $30. I got it for $3. And I'm not wearing it. I'm not going to wear it. I want to disinfect it. But I love my V for Vendetta. I know this has been used for online groups. I'm not going to say who they are because who knows who's watching, or whatever, how the algorithms work and stuff, get jerked off of here. But yeah, this is always going to be Guy Fawkes to me. This is going to be V for Vendetta. Watch me get that name wrong. Yeah, V for Vendetta, the mask. This is fantastic. But yeah, I just had to crack up. This will be hanging in places around there after I wipe it down. Hey, Phobos is here. What's up, Phobos? I don't know if I've seen you around before, so welcome to the show. Now, one of the things that we were following here for you guys that were around here is there was 2 series I was really trying to complete. I mean, there's others I'm filling in gaps and stuff, but I was really out to like finish these 2 series. They were 300 issues a piece, and I'm less than 100 issues on each one, and stuff like that. The one was Cerebus. It was to get issue 25 to 300. Very close, and I almost have all the phone book trades, but it was also Hellblazer. But I put the brakes on Hellblazer. I'm well over 200 issues, but I put the brakes on it because I started reading. And it really depended on who the creative team was with their little arc, because the quality of stories was not consistent. I mean, you started out with Jamie Delano, Garth Ennis, Warren Ellis popped on there. Was it Greg Rucka? I don't know. They've had a few writers come and go, and some return and do their thing. Very good stuff. And then you got people who come on there and you can tell they're just filler issues and stuff. So it wasn't there. But this goes back to the 20s. We're still in the 80s with this when it started out, right? Because this issue was followed up with a Neil Gaiman, Dave McKean. I think Dave McKean was the artist on it, book. 26 and 27 have been stolen from me. I know, it's just amazing. It's like, gee, Tim, you've had so many comic books stolen, right? Because I figure it out as I go and catalog and stuff, right? But this is by the V for Vendetta team. This is probably why I showed the masks there. It'd have been so cool to wear the mask while I talked about this. But this is by Grant Morrison and David Lloyd, and I guess it's a 1-issue story, number 26, okay, from 1990. So, yeah, this is being replaced. This is fantastic. Now, did I get these Hellblazer issues back in the 90s? No, I've got them somewhere along the line over the last 6 or 7 years at flea markets and stuff, right? I got a huge chunk of that Hellblazer collection, like I said a minute ago, when I bought a whole, big, huge box of comics from a dude at the flea market. And when I got home and did the division and the math, 17 cents a piece. So you can't complain. Now, my buddy gave me this. Okay, my buddy is a huge Tim Truman fan. I'm a huge Truman fan, but he puts me to shame. I've met Tim Truman. I've talked to Tim Truman and stuff, like a lot of people at these cons and stuff. Apparently, the guy lives up the road. Used to teach, or he may still be doing it online or something. But taught art at a college. And this guy, to me, is one of the great unsung indie guys of the alternative comics of the '80s. Specifically with this character, Scout. Okay. But he gave me the Scout Handbook, an atlas to survival in the new America, the maps, histories, weapons, tactical equipment, character dossiers. So I'll be reading this. Scout, big Apache, kind of think Mad Max a little bit, but not quite. But it's just a fantastic little series and stuff, right? And I think it came close to being talked about. Some Tim Truman property there for a while was being talked about getting picked up for a TV show or who knows, some streaming show. And I don't think it came to fruition. So, thanks a lot to my buddy Anderson for giving me this. I think I sold him or gave him a bunch of Scout books. He was already a Tim Truman fan, Now, I'm a James O'Barr fan. James O'Barr, the Crow, he has such a small amount of work, but I kind of I don't want to put the guy on a pedestal. I don't want to praise him too much and act like, he's some genius, but he's got a unique voice in his work. He comes off like a lot of self-taught stuff. There's a lot of his artwork I connect with because I'm a little bit self-taught myself, around the same era, even though he's older than me and stuff. And there's a little bit of a weird emotion that he puts in there. You read an O'Barr story and you walk away haunted by it a little bit. You know what I mean? Just depending on you are. So he's got some book that I think maybe might be some kind of cyberpunk thing. But I want to say this is maybe from 1999, but it's got stuff in it from 94. Who knows? But this is from ACG Comics. It rings a bell. I don't think there's a lot of work by him. I don't know. But James O'Barr, Original Sins, doing his own thing. That's what I mean. So I was really glad to get this. I got Nasty Bits. He's got there's 3 or 4 little one-shots of his work out there that I've carried around since the 90s and stuff. So it's always kind of cool to be out in the wild and find something new of his, right? Now, these 2 books, we're going to do a little comic book talk here. All right. Hellboy's first appearance, Next Men 21, John Byrne's Next Men 21. And in that book, Hellboy is a comic book character for a comic book company that has the initials DC, but I don't know what it was, right? So John Byrne's Next Men basically was sort of the real world, and one of the Next Men was a comic book fan. And he goes out and he ends up making it to New York and goes into the offices of this comic books place, right? So John Byrne's got a little sleazy stuff going on with Discount Comics or whatever they call themselves, right? I don't know, right? But one of his characters is, I don't know if the guy was called Action Man or what it was. I don't remember, man. But what has happened is over the years, and I caught this, and I reread the series before too, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But there's a cameo appearance. Hellboy is a comic book character in this world before the comic came out. John Byrne's Next Men, number 21, was the first appearance of Hellboy, because in this world, you will get powers from one of the Next Men. If you have sex with them, it activates a power in you. It's a disease. It's a sexually transmitted disease, right? And the girl that Danny here is hanging out with, who is kind of worldly, we'll put it that way to begin with, while he's searching for his mother, and he's discovered comic books in the real world and loves them and can't figure out that this stuff is fantasy and not real. Goes out there and long story short, in the background, there's a poster with Hellboy on it in this book in the comic book company. And the story where Hellboy appears, this girl is able to make things appear out of thin air, right? All of a sudden, these superheroes from the books are really flying around and fighting, and Hellboy comes to life in this real world. So Hellboy's first appearance is basically as a comic book character pulled into the real world, which I found very interesting. And of course, John Byrne was sort of helping Mike Mignola get Hellboy off the ground with the scripting, quit because he said, you can do it. And Mike Mignola can. So I'm going to show you what all the fuss is about. This is my second one. I mean, I've got the original run. but like I said, people are really digging to get key books and stuff out there. There they are. Dollar Comics. They're at Dollar Comics. Okay. At the offices of Dollar Comics. He goes in, and I always thought this was sort of like a Funky Flashman, Stan Lee type publisher and stuff. All the people there, always looking for the next hook. And they've got all their characters around. And here it is, page 16 for you guys. Let me get it up there. Behind his head, right here, they're saying that is the first cameo appearance of Hellboy. That is what all the hubbub is about. There you go. So if you're really a completist, or you're looking for some key that who knows if speculators can get it to take off or whatever, Next Men number 14. That cracks me up. And like I said, I caught it in a rereading, just to do it. But yeah, page 16, issue 14. Yeah. Cracks me up. But yeah, it's a thing. Cameo. It's been considered the first cameo appearance of Hellboy. And then I got number 27. I have the full run of Next Men now. Didn't even know I was missing this. I swear I think I had it before, coming to the close of that series. All right, let's check out 2 more comments. We got people coming in. This is awesome. Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should never be forgot. There we go. Look at that. Yeah, fantastic. A little story that I've told on here before is that I had a chance to pick up all 10 issues of V for Vendetta sometime probably in the early 90s, I guess, late 80s when it came over. And it was for $1 a piece out of a dollar box, right? And I didn't get them because back then you either had a 4-issue miniseries, a 6-issue miniseries. Sometimes you got a little bit of a 7, but there was no 10-issue miniseries. And I didn't realize that this work was being completed, from a magazine in England and stuff, I guess, is what they were doing. So it was 10 issues. I thought it was an incomplete set. And I'm like, I'm not going to get this different world. You didn't have eBay, no internet or anything. Comic book shops came and went. You never knew when you were going to get a ride out there. You never knew when you were going to get time. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't get them. So imagine my surprise when I found out it was only a 10-issue series. I ended up getting it years later. I think I have 2 issues of number 1 and the complete set and one of the books and stuff, right? So V for Vendetta, the moment I read it, I loved it. I loved V for Vendetta. So good. And I couldn't believe that was David Lloyd's art in that book. That was fantastic. I think I have the only other time that I could really think of David Lloyd's work in my head was when he did the movie adaptation for Time Bandits, and his artwork was really good in that, but nothing like V for Vendetta. And we got Tats Comics, brother. Good to see you, man. Long time, no talk, no see. Great to see you, Tat. All right. So let's go back. We're going to go back to when Howler Mouse was a little pup, or whatever you call the baby mice or whatever, right? But it's the late 70s. Saturday morning cartoons was a thing. 3 channels, 3 cartoons. But before the networks really turned over, you had stuff that was syndicated. Now, back then, I was one of those hyperactive kids. We now have a word for it called ADHD kid is what I think it is, and probably still have a little ADD touch of as I am now. So I was up hopping. I would go, there's 2 or 3 nights during the month I wouldn't sleep. I'd get up, belly crawl down the hallway of the trailer, get my Fruity Pebbles cereal, get my Fruity Flintstone vitamin, and I'd plop down in front of the TV. And you had 2 or 3 shows that came on. I think they started at 6. Okay. You, of course, had Johnny Quest, which blew me away. I have been a lifelong Johnny Quest fan. And you had Dr. Snuggles, which I found out Douglas Adams of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy worked on. I remembered that cartoon, but it took me forever to find out what the name of it was. I could remember vividly the cartoon. And you had this Battle of the Planets, Gatchaman, the edited down version for Saturday morning kids, syndicated cartoon. My first, I guess it would be considered anime, even though it was a TV show. Lifelong fan of this. And Alex Ross, who, think he's just a few years older than me. Comes from that same era that he remembers. You got to understand, I was a little kid who hung out with older people and had older taste, and all this stuff, right? But I loved Battle of the Planets, right? So here's number one of the 12-issue series that came out when Alex Ross pushed and pushed and pushed to get the rights to do this book in America, right? The first 12. I think they went on to have like a battle. I've got like number 2 through 11 in there. I had number 1 back in the day. I have no idea what happened to it. It seems like I also had like a director's cut of this book. I don't know. I'm going to look it up. There's some variant covers. But I ended up picking up number 1 to complete my set again. And it was the other way around. I had like the first 7, 8 issues forever. Completed those and found out I couldn't find my number 1. So now I have a complete set. They ended up going on to have a crossover 2 series through Wildstorm, I think, Top Cow at Image. And they turned around and the next one I kind of want to get. I thought it was stupid and cheesy when it first came out, but now I've had time to think. And but I want to get Battle of the Planets meets Thundercats, I believe is what it is. And I also have a figure that I ordered through Wizard Magazine years ago of Princess. It was an exclusive figure with her helmet off. And if you went through my Facebook pictures, I'm going to have to go through them myself. I think around 2013 or 14, I met a mom and her kid who had some professional give them cosplay costumes of Jason and Princess. So, yeah, I saw a woman dressed up as Princess. And you talk about attention and her thinking she had the paparazzi at that Heroes Con for a while. More power to her, though. That was awesome. Yeah. Scott's on here. What's up, brother? We'll soon be doing the show. I've already told everybody that the Cavern of Chaos on this channel is on high. I'm taking a hiatus for 2 weeks. They're on Jared Osborne's channel. We'll return here after work settles down. Already covered that, brother. Hi, man. I'm back. Had to step out for a minute. We missed you, man. Yeah, we missed you. Oh, yeah. We made our own wristbands out of paper for Battle of the Planets. Yeah. Transmutation. Is that what the word? Now I got this issue. Grifter was actually one of the, during the Image boom when Image came out, Wildcat started. Grifter was the character that really caught my attention out of all that stuff that came out. Spawn, Youngblood, Savage Dragon, and all that stuff. Grifter was one I looked at, and he had a unique look with this mask that just sort of hung off of his face and that trench coat. He was one of the few guys when everybody was getting leather jackets and trench coats in the late 80s and all the way through the 90s and stuff. For some reason, his actually looked like it belonged. You know what I mean? Like, this is, the guy that probably did everything, right? But I just kind of love this character. So, and it's more about his aesthetic look. We'll just leave it at that, right? But, the name Grifter, I just sort of chuckled about that one, right? But I had to get this number 1 because, I don't know, I was going through some of my Alan Moore books or something, and I saw an ad for this in one of the old Image books, probably in Alan Moore's Wildcats, if I had to imagine. And I was like, that's a Barry Windsor Smith cover. Now, this is in the 90s, and Barry Windsor Smith was all over the place, right? Valiant Comics, Archer and Armstrong, Solar, Unity, and then he went on and did some of his own Treasury Edition books. I mean, not in that order and stuff. Rune for Ultra Comics. He was just everywhere. Weapon X, telling the origin story, if you will, of how Wolverine got his adamantium in Marvel Comics Presents late 80s, I think, going into the 90s. The guy was just on fire. So when I saw this, this is one of those covers that just seeing it here won't do it justice. But again, it's one of those pieces by Barry Windsor Smith. I've seen 4 or 5 pieces, and I call them pieces, like a splash page in an X-Men book, Life, Death, Part 1. He's got certain pages of his work, where 4 or 5 of them, I can just sit there and look at it. He does not waste a line. I mean, just blows my mind. Like, I can just look at this stuff. The gun has weight. You know what I mean? It's a fantastic piece. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I got that complete for the cover. What we got here? Sequential Geek is all over the place on this. That show heavy, going back to Battle of the Planets, it was fantastic. That show heavily emulated as a kid, me and my peeps on our dirt bikes to do Battle of the Planets, Phoenix Bird thing, everything. If you watch the cartoon, I got every reference he just did. Okay. Have to go. Hey, good to see you, Tat. Enjoy your dinner, man. I think he's on the West Coast, so we got a 4 hour difference. No offense, Grifter looks like bullshit to me, an amalgamation of looks at the time he blended in. I already quit comics, though, by 89. You know, that's the thing about comics. There's something for everybody. Yep, you just said the same thing. And Scott Connor knows Battle of the Planets there. When you mentioned the Phoenix ship there, he's like, I hope those bikes didn't catch on fire. I hope they did. I hope they did. And it looked like you were really part of Battle of the Planets with your wristbands. Okay, so one of the series that really surprised me, right? A lot of people who were there in the 90s, a lot of people who remember the 90s, I'm sure I had my moments with it. And I probably will have my moments again with it. But I'm one of the people that kind of defends the 90s, and that because hindsight is 2020. Bone was coming out. It was an exciting time. There was some things going on in comics that I enjoyed. At one point, there were 800 comic books a month coming out. If a comic book shop decided to get every issue, and of course, the bubble busted, and Marvel Comics had to file bankruptcy, and on and on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? But there was a lot of books, a lot of work out there, and the cream rose to the top. Okay, this is where we got Bone, we got Hellboy, we got James Robinson's Starman. There's really a lot of stuff out there. Vertigo, to me, had the best amount of quality books come out. They had Sandman going on, Hellblazer going on, Invisibles. Some of that stuff felt dated, maybe, but it was great at the time. Books of Magic with Timothy Hunter and all kinds of stuff going on there. Dawn by Mike Lisner. I can go on and I can really name some books. And of course, there was crap out there. Brigade, anything that was connected to Youngblood there for a while. Yet we can turn around and remember that Rob Liefeld handed Supreme over to Alan Moore and had a classic run there. So to me, that's the perfect shape of the 90s and stuff, man. A lot of crap books that were coming out like pop records of the 60s, and a lot of stuff that rose to the cream of the crop at the time, like Hellboy, But there was a little section of this writer you may have heard of called Warren Ellis who came onto Image, and it was like you had this mini little Warren Ellis burst there that nobody really paid attention to too much. Until it turned into the Authority. You had this volume of Stormwatch get completely turned around issue, 36 or 37. It led into a second volume of Stormwatch that ran for 11 issues. In the midst of this, there was a crossover with Stormwatch and Aliens, Ridley Scott's Aliens, the Xenomorphs. And Warren Ellis was a genius because when he did this, you had Batman versus Predator, Superman versus Alien. You didn't really expect a lot to really happen. Nothing permanent. Warren Ellis used the Xenomorph aliens to kill half the freaking team so they could merge and end up becoming the Authority. And the Authority was on fire when that book came out. And it influenced a lot of stuff. It came out of the wake of Mark Gruenwald's Squadron Supreme and Kingdom Come. It was one of those books. And it was the whole idea of heroes being proactive with the world and stuff instead of being reactionary. But when Stormwatch get a team in place, and Warren Ellis in his first issue of taking over this book, turned around and just had half the Stormwatch team furloughed, fired, and started bringing in his own characters. And these characters would end up leading up to being an Authority. So you had a lot of first issues and stuff, man. But these are my fill-in issues, right? I think he did issue 36, 37, all the way up into, I think that book lasted until issue 50. And like I said, the second volume of Stormwatch had 11 issues. And that is like the pure Warren Ellis stuff that kind of leads into the Authority. But there's so many artists that I want to talk about sometimes because Tom Rainey was on this book. Tom Rainey, I ended up meeting him and he signed an issue, a variant cover that was an EC Comics throwback for Stormwatch in the early 40s issues here. And it really kills me how there's so many artists that are really underrated and not really talked about. Tom Grummett, Adam Polina, Tom Rainey. These guys are just great storytellers, and I don't know what goes on behind the scenes while they're not big names. You don't hear more about them, you know. Tom Rainey's a big one, and Tom Grummett, another one that I think is fantastic. Anyway, these are sort of fill-in issues. And you're really having some fun with this series. I highly recommend it. It's just fantastic. You never really know what's coming around the corner sometimes. You didn't really need to know what they were doing. Now, this is a variant cover, a throwback to Watchmen. Like I said, there was another one that was a throwback to some EC Comics, maybe a little bit of a Mars Attacks kind of feel. I'm not sure what was going on with those, but that's just part of it that made it fun. And then issue 48. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, when I saw issue 48, I cataloged starting back in, I can't remember if it was February or May, but I went ahead and bought the CLZ app on my phone, $15 a year, to go ahead and start cataloging my comics. I swear I've had 2 copies of this, but it's, when I went to catalog it, it's not there. So I don't know. Hopefully I'm not triple dipping here and stuff, right? But here's issue 48. So that's basically it. Filled in a lot of gaps now. I have a complete JSA run. I've showed that book last week of from 1999 up. I now have a complete, what did I fill in here? Complete run of Next Men, because I was missing one book here and there. And that's kind of how my collecting is going right now. Kind of look at those books I need to kind of fill the gaps. So now I have all the Warren Ellis stuff. Now, to help me get me along with that Warren Ellis universe stuff like that, a couple of my buddies, Charlton 66, Comic Hoarder, a few people, they sent me some trades just for free because I was talking about it on this channel and stuff, right? So it was totally worth it. Okay, man, but hey, that's really all I got. I'm exhausted, to say the least, and hopefully I'll get a good night's sleep tonight. But now that I've shown this stuff, I want to try to put a few things up, and I want to rip open 1 or 2 of these trades or something, or maybe 1 or 2 of these books, and I'm going to set my ass on the couch, and I'm going to finish my drink, and I'm going to try to fall asleep reading tonight. I've never heard anything sound so wonderful myself. All right, guys. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for doing everything. And we got the lag going on, I think, here. With my luck, someone will send me a Youngblood trade paperback. There's 3 issues of Youngblood worth reading because Alan Moore did 3 or 4 issues. Tom Ryan, damn, I got in too late. Yeah, hit that bell, brother. Hit that bell, subscribe, give this thing a thumbs up, share it. Let your friends know when we're on. Thanks for drinking and talking. Hey, my pleasure. The pleasure is all mine. Tom, brother, hopefully we can link up here. Hey, Tom Ryan. All right, guys. All right, guys, you guys be excellent to each other. Share, like, thumbs up. Let people know this is out there, man. And like I said before, it's be excellent to each other. Later.